What we have here is our number plate recognition system. So inside this vehicle we have a screen which is monitoring 4 external cameras. So we have 2 cameras facing forward and 2 at the back facing sideways. And you can see it's really a number plate that's just outside the front of the vehicle there.
Some kind of video registration.
Sorry?
Some kind of video registration.
It's a number plate recognition system. So it's it's one of our partners from called PIPS. So we have 4 analog cameras that are connected to the computer in the back, continually monitoring the plates that it sees. You configure the system up for the particular country in which you want to operate, and then it will read the plate for you, capture an image of it, and then save that away and store it for later evidence quality if that's required.
Just to say, from a public safety point of view, a police officer driving down the road can see 100 or 150 plates and monitor them during an 8-hour shift. This will capture every plate that the car passes, and they say it's about 1,500. So the efficiency side, as Paul Steinberg mentioned, isn't just about the ability to capture more plates, but the officer can focus on the job at hand in terms of driving and adding the intelligence, whilst the plates are monitored and then looked up on databases to see whether or not there's anyone interested in that. And one of the things that they discovered was that in doing this and capturing the plates, not only were they finding people who hadn't paid their parking tickets and things, but they were also finding cars that had been used in other crimes that they didn't know where they were, but they happened to be parked up on a road somewhere and they were being spotted as well. So it's not just in real time for saying that car's been speeding or that car's got a ticket. It's also the historic issue of being able to match it against other crimes and other issues.
Would you make caddies? We also have an application on here which is a computer-aided dispatch application. So this is the mobile version of that application. So if as an officer out driving around, they can see at the central site whereabouts you are, and then they can allocate an incident to you based on your particular location. So when the incident comes through, there might be a requirement to change your status to go on duty, and then they can send you down incident logs that are located close to where you are. So maybe we'll get one in a minute if my colleagues have sent me one through, but it doesn't really have it, of course. Oh, here we go. So I've now got an incident that's been allocated to me. I can show on the map where I am and where the incident's allocated, incidents come from. From that, I select that, just go to it, there. I can then get more information about that particular incident, so I can expand it. So this has all come down from the central site. I can also look at other information associated with it. So in this particular case, we've got a photo that's been sent down to me as well. If I go back, I can look at there's actually been a piece of video that's associated with it also. So that's come down to me. That wasn't on here locally. That's come down via the connection. So that might be relevant to the particular call that's going on.
So this is the concept of the officer having the information at his fingertips as he arrives at the incident or the event. And there's lots of good examples of how this is useful. So for instance, maybe a shop owner pulls the emergency alarm in the shop, and that triggers an alarm back in a central station, and the officer is dispatched to site. By having access to a video camera that maybe is there outside the shop or on the street or even in the shop, the officer knows whether he's dealing with a group of children who are messing around or whether he's dealing with an armed robbery. And that would have huge implications for how the officer would approach the issue. The last thing you want is officers going in with guns drawn if it's a bunch of children messing around. Equally, the last thing you want is an officer going in with his hands in his pockets if there's a chap in there with a gun. So being able to provide the real-time intelligence down to the car or down to the officer is really important.
So another application we're running on here is a video management server. So we've got 4 video cameras in here in the vehicle. We've got one facing forward, which is just here. Mm-hmm. We've got another camera here facing back inside the vehicle, and then we have 2 at the back. So one of those is a covert camera. So when the rear boot is up, it's still video recording behind. So that's what that camera is seeing there. That's the rear covert camera, and that camera there is for when the boot is down, you're still recording backwards. So at the moment, that's pointing straight up in the ceiling. and what you can see there is the reflection, double reflection back through the glass, because the glass is now at an angle. So, but all of this video, as you can see, is live, being recorded as well locally on the local disk. And if we want to, these cameras can run multiple video streams, so we can record a high resolution copy of the video locally. We can stream a low res copy back across the network, back to central site. So this video can then be brought into a bigger video management system and recorded and looked at and dealt with accordingly. That brings us on to another application which we're running on here.
If I may, just to say, so the fact that you've got camera in the car, videoing the guy in the back seat, why would you really be interested in that? Well, there's an awful lot of cases where there's accusations leveled against police where they've been accused of doing something. Now, if you have a camera in the car that is videoing what's going on, the officer is aware that there is a record of everything, as is the person in the vehicle. Therefore, there's less false accusations between either party, which helps the whole trust process work a lot more effectively. So cameras, as I said before and we said in the presentations, are a fantastic way of ensuring that justice is done appropriately.
We then have another application which, if you think about it, takes video in the other direction. So if you've got central site video that's being looked at by a control room, but they want to send video down to the officer or the vehicle, they can select video streams and then send them down so that the officer can look at them. And what this application does as well is it tunes the video stream dependent on the size of the bandwidth of the pipe available to it. So a lower speed bandwidth pipe, you're going to get a smaller video stream. So, but also what it allows you to do is control the camera. So on the bench back there, we've got it's just a zoom camera, but it means I can control from here the camera. So you can see it actually zooming in from here. So I'm controlled. That's not one of the in-car cameras, that's one of the external cameras. Okay, and that's being collected on a server that's at the central site, and then restreamed back down to the car via a dedicated client here. So this is then using video information that's fed down to the officer, so that he can then work with the video that he sees. The actual video itself for this one is a server-based application, and then this is obviously the client for that application. But it's available. We have an Android client as well, so we can you can then use that video if you wanted to walking around the vehicle. So you could then also see that video sent down to you from a central site. So the video inside the car I can send back up again if I wanted to, and then redistribute that. But what we're showing here is video coming the other way down. So it's a way of making best use of your other video sources.
And could you imagine that this application will come in the nearest future to mass market of public safety?
It's really for public safety. To be perfectly honest with you, it's meant for it's meant for law enforcement, public safety, absolutely.